the busyness, the constantness, the overachievement, the overthinking, the overdoing keeps you so disconnected from your body and from yourself, and it keeps the judgment churning and the comparison churning. So you're like up here in this crazy hamster wheel, but all the answers and all the truth is down here. Welcome to the School of Becoming podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Litt. Imagine a world where you don't need to have an opinion. What? Imagine a world where comparison doesn't even come into your awareness. Imagine a world where you are open to truly being seen and heard in your truth. That's the new world. That's what each of us are contributing to when we go within and evolve. So then it begs the question, what needs to happen to experience this? The simple answer, the untethering from judgment and self-criticism. All judgment is self-judgment. What does that mean? Judgment only impacts if you hold that judgment of yourself. When you are self-judgmental, you are automatically judgmental of others and situations. When you hold a lot of self-judgment, you perceive that everyone is judging you. And the truth is, sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, and who cares? If they are, that's their shit, and you get to release your own self-judgment so it doesn't even occur to you to care and question whether or not you're being judged in the first place. Thing two, judgment is protective. Judgment is an adaptation, a protection that keeps people out, that keeps you disconnected from yourself. It's like a barrier that stops authentic connection, right? With yourself and with others. When you're in judgment, you're constantly creating these invisible walls that you keep everything and everyone at a distance, and it interferes with connection, love, support, collaboration, energetics, authenticity, visibility, and you're denying the truth of your oneness. So let's say someone walked in the room where I am recording this for you and said, "You're a bitch." Well, if I don't judge myself as a bitch, it doesn't even occur to me to care. It's more like, "Oh, I'm sorry, is there a mosquito in the room?" Your relationship with yourself is your power cord. And when you have an addiction to judgment, and it is an addiction, let me take a moment here and give you the School of Becoming's adopted definition of an emotional addiction by an incredible guy named Dr. Judson Brewer. Continued use despite adverse consequences. Let's just be with that. Continued use despite adverse consequences. So you continually stay in judgment, even though it is prohibiting your dreams and it's driving you to feel like shit. You with me? Okay, cool. Let's keep going. And maybe right now in this conversation, you're having resistance to the fact that you're operating with high levels of judgment, and that's totally cool. Because ironically, one of the things that we teach you when you come into the core curriculum of the school is how to cultivate your non-judgmental observer. Let me share a minute about my experience with this. When I finally took that leap and I enrolled in coaching school, I remember starting that first immersive adult weekend feeling like I was love and light, right? Like, I'm good. I've got nothing. Maybe I'll learn some stuff. I'll learn how to ask open-ended questions, but like, I'm love and light. I'm good, right? And we start playing this basically like a bingo game. Imagine like a personal growth bingo game. And all of the words on the bingo card were words like comparing, judgmental, skeptic, things of that nature, right? So basically like third dimensional consciousness language. That's how I would teach it now. And there I'm sitting and I look at the bingo card and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute, but I'm loving light and I'm loving light. Needless to say, I won bingo. Because what I realized about myself, because I was loving enough to myself to actually take a look at what the fuck was going on, was, oh my God, I am judging everything. I'm judging myself. I'm judging how I look. I'm judging how I act. I'm judging everything in my life. I'm judging everyone in my life. I'm judging circumstances. I'm judging people I don't even know. And I share that because it was the first thing I decided to really lean in on in the many evolutions of myself since then. And my promise to you on this one is that when you untether, just untether from judgment, remember what I taught you before, all judgment is self-judgment. Everything opens up. You like open your chest, open your body, everything opens up. Freedom, the density, the dense energy in your body turns to lightness. You open, you are more creative, you're more innovative. You are focused on your legacy and what you're moving forward. The distractions are over. The comparison ends because comparison and judgment are first cousins. We're going to talk about self-criticism in a minute because self-criticism and judgment are married. And as you're hearing me speak about these elements, these behaviors, these emotions, pay attention because all of these things, judgment, comparison, and criticism, only exist in the third dimension of consciousness. What? Yeah. Third dimension of consciousness is your survival state. It is all humanness, no energy, no spirituality. That lives up in your higher levels of consciousness. So as we're having this conversation and as we're hanging out, just be with me and allow yourself to hear me. Allow yourself to pay attention to the sensations that your body delivers as I'm saying certain things. Notice where your body is like tight and resisting. Notice where your body's like, oh my God, yes, I want that. Because awareness is the pathway to everything, and we can't change what we don't notice. And one of the things that I see in every incredible visionary woman that becomes a student of the school is the busyness, the constantness, the overachievement, the overthinking, the overdoing keeps you so disconnected from your body and from yourself, and it keeps the judgment churning and the comparison churning. So you're like up here in this crazy hamster wheel, but all the answers and all the truth is down here. So all of that keeps you from your highest self, keeps you from hearing your intuition, keeps you from sensing your soul. There's a reason it took me 38 years to hear my soul, because I was like the woman that was running around with that masochistic sense of pride. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Thinking I was this most stressed out, busiest person. Like someone was about to give me a badge and I was going to be like, fuck yes, that is my badge. There is nothing wrong with you. Again, judgment is protective. Judgment keeps people out. Judgment keeps you disconnected from you. So one of the habits that keeps judgment rooted and empowered is self-criticism, right? I mentioned it. Self-criticism and self-judgment are married. Self-criticism is habituated. And that habit is the main habit that keeps self-judgment firmly locked in place. I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you. So self-criticism is an old, very cruel, dysfunctional paradigm based on the false premise that you achieve more when you're hard on yourself, and that you are only as valuable as what you achieve and produce. We need to be here. The false premise that you achieve more when you're hard on yourself. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you now, as I'm sitting here and you're hearing me, realize how absolutely insane that is? We're going to whip ourselves into greatness? That's not a thing. A recent study found, you're going to be like, I'm sorry, what? A recent study found that 42% of women don't compliment themselves, wait for it, and 46% of women criticize themselves somehow by 9:30 a.m. Before you've even had your second cup of coffee, you're actively against yourself. There are certain conversations we're going to have, and you're either going to be in resonance or I'm going to trigger the shit out of you. And either way, we're winning. Why? Because as you become a highly conscious woman, you recognize that a trigger is a gift. It is an opportunity, if you are so willing, to move into the discomfort, to explore it, so that you can learn and heal and grow and elevate out of the wound that created that trigger. Okay? There are certain conversations that I don't want to have anymore. And this is one of them. It pains me. It pains me that I sit here and I am speaking to you, trailblazer, visionary woman, created so much success. And we are having a conversation about you not being against yourself. You have greatness. You have unlimited potential. You have massive impact. You have love. You have all of this available to you. And when you tolerate being against yourself, you do this to all of it. Nope. Nope, I'm good. Just leave me here and leave me alone. But you're still consciously making vision boards and wanting and desiring and pissed off that nothing's changing. I'm inviting you to no longer be available to be against yourself. Please. For you, because you deserve to feel lightness over density, because you deserve to be the thing that is your biggest cheerleader, your relationship with you is the power cord. If you're the one that's against yourself, how is anything else going to ever happen from that? And the first biggest shift around this concept is, wow, okay, I'm no longer going to be against me. Well, that's a novel concept. I'm going to become my biggest advocate, my biggest fan, my biggest cheerleader, and leave it right there. Notice your body right now. Notice what's happening for you as you start to listen, as you start to really let it in and go, my God. So I ask on behalf of you, first and foremost. Then I ask on behalf of all of the people in proximity to you, because the ripple effect is real and the drip process is real. I'll explain it in another conversation. And how you show up in the world and what you model is what you are showing the world is the way to be. It's what you are co-resonating. It's what you are co-regulating. And I have 3 daughters. And you have daughters, sons, nieces, nephews. And the work we're doing, first, we get these gorgeous gains, right? More freedom, more love, more sex, more money, more wealth. Yes, impact, here for it. Thank you. And it's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than that. It's about our ability to change things for the generations that are coming after us while simultaneously healing our ancestors who never had that opportunity. So we're going to be done being against ourselves, right? Okay, good. How are we going to start to put this into practical application? We have awareness. We understand what judgment is. We understand that self-criticism locks it in place. I'm always going to talk to you about how, because inspiration without practical application is useless. Here is the little experiment you're going to play with. I invite you to practice the art of not having an opinion, of not having an opinion about yourself, about them, about him, about her, about that situation, about that client, about that meeting, about that workshop, about nothing. This one shift changes everything. It helps you to become void of judgment, where you don't have what to say. You don't have a comment to make. You cut off the ability to commiserate and gossip and bitch and complain with the people around you, right? When you have an opinion, you are in judgment. So as you practice becoming a woman who no longer has an opinion, it allows you to be open, be more present, right? You can play with this sub practice inside of this. Oh, isn't that interesting? Right? Isn't that interesting? So you can go straight to not having an opinion at all. You can notice that the opinion is coming upon you, and instead of sharing it, pause and go, isn't that interesting? Because what that does is it opens you to curiosity. And fun fact, curiosity and judgment cannot occur simultaneously in your brain. Okay. Okay. And as you're becoming a highly conscious woman who is void of judgment and no longer having an opinion, it allows you to feel your lightness, your creativity, beam love from your heart, be supportive, right? Move into collaboration over competition, embody that together we rise, not just lip service it. So this is what I want you to pay attention to as you are practicing not having an opinion. I want you to pay attention to your body. I'm going to be saying this at nauseum in our time together. When you start to notice your body is tighter, your body is constricted. Maybe you notice that comparison is upon you. Maybe you notice that you're not taking the action that you said you were going to take, right? You notice something. I want you to then immediately go to your body and allow yourself to start to sense, is my body tight? Is it a little tight? Or is it loose and open? Okay, what we're looking for in energetic lightness is that openness. Like, come on, just be with me. Notice that self judgment wants to stop you from doing what I'm showing you how to do. It's insidious. Okay. So open your shoulders, put your titties out, your arms. Okay. That lightness. Breathe in, out. That lightness. So notice when your body isn't feeling that lightness, when it's in that constriction, right? Or notice one of the types of limiting behaviors that I mentioned. And then notice that there's an opinion happening. There's always an opinion. There's always a judgment that's interfering. And then simply, oh, thanks. Great. I'm so glad that I noticed. Put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath in, and give yourself an audible sigh. And you say to yourself, I love not having an opinion. I love being a highly conscious woman. It feels so good to be void of judgment. So start to play with it and really experiment with it, because I promise you, if you do, you're going to have some magical, magical shifts, and you might end up being like me, right? I noticed how judgmental I was. When I noticed that, I was like nauseous, like, oh my God. But also, those are the moments for the deepest transformation, where you hit that moment where you're like, oh my God, I could throw up over realizing who I've been being or what I've been tolerating. And that is actually a sweet spot to your growth and evolution. So DM me on Instagram. Tell me how it's going. If you are going to take this beautiful experiment on, I promise you it is so worth your time and will give you so much endless impact. And remember, until next time, there is always more love.